started. We're getting ready for the second leg of Dinamo București. The visitors here against Manchester United, and it looks like David Moyes is here to enjoy that one. Somebody who hopes he'll be releasing one of his star players very soon. That's the big news here this evening. But of course we should have a little look at the opposition. It's not a foregone conclusion, and teams have tripped up at this stage in the qualifying, haven't they? And they did score a goal against Manchester United, didn't they, out there in Romania?
They did, and that will give them heart. You know, having looked at the Manchester United team sheet, they may feel that it's an opportunity, and you know, they're only a goal down. Like you say, they have scored against Manchester United, so keeping it tight and counter-attack will be the way that they'll go. But you'd feel that United should have too much.
I think Dinamo Bucharest's biggest strength. I like Niculescu up front. I thought for the first half over in Bucharest, I thought he was their best player. And you know, him and Dancilescu between them scored 37 goals last year. So that's obviously got to be a threat and has to be respected. I still think, you know, United.
I'm surprised Niculescu's still playing for them. I expect him to be turning up at Livingston or something anytime soon. Such was Ali's enthusiasm from the first leg. So you see it, Man United taking care of this one, not necessarily as comfortably as people might expect, but definitely going through.
I hope so.
Yeah.
As long as they're not complacent, can't see them losing.
I agree with Robbie. I think they'll fancy the chance of looking at the United side, but you'd still think they'll get through.
Okay, thanks guys. Almost time. Let's join our commentary team tonight. Andy Townsend, and first, Clive Tilsley.
Thank you, Gabby, and good evening, everybody. The best laid plans of football managers rarely get beyond the drawing board. Sir Alex Ferguson's plans seem to be changing by the hour. It was 3 o'clock this afternoon when he learned that Roy Keane would miss tonight's game and the next 3 weeks of Manchester United's accident-prone start to the season. Ole Solskjaer's season is over already. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Wes Brown, Rio Ferdinand, Gabriel Heinze, Wayne Rooney, all unavailable tonight for one reason or another. Failing to reach the quarter-finals of the Champions League last season was a new experience for the players of Manchester United, this group. Failing to reach the first phase of the Champions League would be an awful experience. Every season this stage of the competition claims a major scalp or two. Benfica went out last night, Juventus are in danger tonight. Manchester United will be wary. They have half the lead that Liverpool enjoyed in similar circumstances last night. Gary Neville captaining Manchester United tonight in the absence of the injured Roy Keane, and Ryan Giggs, who is on a star-studded substitutes bench alongside Louis Saha, who has recovered fitness, and Paul Scholes. They are there just in case. The average age of the Manchester United team that takes the field tonight, under 23. One or two less than familiar faces going through the picture. Last season was the first time since 1996 that Manchester United failed to reach the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Costinha's late goal here sent Jose Mourinho racing down that touchline. 5 months have passed since their last tilt at regaining the Champions League. The latest tilt should begin later tonight. Wayne Rooney will not be the headline story if Manchester United blow this one. I know that many of you would like me to get my first mention of the 1999 Champions League final out of the way as early in the broadcast as possible. It is a fact that Manchester United's successful European campaign that year began in the qualifying round of the competition. It can be won from here. This will not be the team for the final if they do win it from here. Full debuts for 18-year-olds Jonathan Spector and Chris Eagles, both in unfamiliar positions. Seasonal debuts for Cleberson and Ronaldo, who Alex Ferguson wanted to rest. The plan is to support Alan Smith in numbers from midfield. Smith barely needs support in his current form. Dinamo București are having a troubled start to their season, below halfway in the Romanian league. They lost to their local rivals Steaua at the weekend, and following that game there was a dressing room altercation during which the club president effectively sacked 4 players, 2 of whom played in the first leg. The club that is still run by the state is in a bit of a state. Europe's top referee of the moment, the Euro 2004 final referee, Marcus Merck, is in charge. Maybe he's remembered why he didn't send Mikel Sylvester off in the England versus France game. Let's have a look at a couple of new Manchester United faces. Jonathan Spector, American-born, will play at left back tonight, although he is a right-footed centre-back by trade. And Christopher Eagles, who did play in the last 20 minutes of the Community Shield, who was on the right of midfield in the Youth Cup winning team last season, is going to be the main support from midfield for Alan Smith. Liverpool blooded one or two youngsters last night and had a nervous night. Manchester United, as I said a moment ago, have half the lead that Liverpool had at this stage of the night. Dinamo Bucharest had their moments in the first game. Manchester United were behind for half an hour of the first leg. Ryan Giggs cancelled out Quinton Fortune's own goal shortly before half-time in Romania. The tie settled midway through the second half when Liam Miller's driven cross was diverted past his own goalkeeper by number 6 Alistar, who has since been sacked by the club. Munteanu, the goalkeeper, didn't play in the first game because of suspension, and Andy Townsend didn't make it to Romania, but he's made it to Manchester. They've been good up front.
They have been good up front, Clive. You've got to be very careful of Dancilescu and Niculescu. They combine very well. In the game out in Bucharest, the opening 20 minutes, those two in particular were very lively. United were getting caught on the counter-attack, surprisingly, away from home. So when they weathered the storm, got themselves their goal, very much back in the game and dominated.
Smith has released Eagles. Pulled back towards Alan Smith. Might still come here for Darren Fletcher, I should say. It was almost a terrific start for Manchester United. I was just looking at my stopwatch, inside of a minute.
And a great start for the young lads. Great little cutback here from Eagles. Has a little look up there. Fletcher very, very nearly finding in the corner of the net.
Corner kick. Cleverson takes. And that does bounce past Fletcher. There is Spector. And Ronaldo is just caught offside. Purposeful start.
That's always good for the young players, Clive, but in particular it is a very unfamiliar looking United team, certainly along the middle of midfield. So that's great for Eagles and Fletcher to be involved very much early on. Helps settle the nerves down a wee bit. Good first touch on the ball, does wonders for the confidence in big games.
Petra, the Dinamo Bucharest captain, turned inside to Mogretescu. Mikel Sylvester. Gary Neville, by some distance, the oldest player in the Manchester United team tonight at 29. It's a sharp pass from Jemba. And from Slid too, who was caught late. Fletcher is on his way. Flag is up anyway.
It's good football as well. Nice slick one-touch passing. There is a nice bit of rain on the surface. It looks very good. It will play very fast. Darren Fletcher particularly unlucky then. Debatable decision whether he was offside, but good interchange of passing.
Samagin, who had his moments raiding down the left-hand side in the first game. Grigore. Taken on by Naidin. Gathered in by Niculescu, who runs straight into Gary Neville. John O'Shea started the season in the Community Shield at centre-back. He then played in centre midfield in Bucharest and at Chelsea, and left-back against Norwich on Saturday. And now he's centre-back again. Said in his press conference yesterday that he didn't know what his best position was. No wonder. Samagin. Naidi. Eagles eager. This is Galamaz. Petra tried to turn it on, only for Ronaldo. Portugal's early exit from the Olympic Games bonus for Manchester United. Gabriel Heinze, their summer signing, has qualified for the Olympic final with Argentina. Given away by Neville. Samagin. Grigore. Bopped off the ball by Fletcher. Spector. Neville. Here's Fletcher. There's some space for Ronaldo on the far side. It was a very tame pass from Darren Fletcher, picked up by Margaretescu. Here's Dancilescu, the main goal threat. Possession changing hands almost by the second.
We saw last night in the game at Anfield, Clive, you don't want to encourage any of these teams whatsoever. If you make a bright start in the game, as Liverpool did last night, but they couldn't find a way through, and eventually you know the opposition will have a chance or two.
Ronaldo with a chance to run the near him here. Swept in by Cleverson. Gregori into the path of Semeguin. Held up by Fletcher, but no more. Now he's dispossessed. Jemba to Cleverson. Fletcher on towards Smith, turned away by Iwadake. Gregori has to dawdle on the ball because Niculescu here had run offside. It's it back from Petra. Now Dancilescu. Plenty of movement from Petra, who's very busy. Well stopped though by O'Shea. Well-timed challenge.
Was a good challenge. Dancilescu is the man we know that scores the bulk of their goals, or has done so far this season, but Niculescu is the one who in particular links the team up very well.
Ronaldo has Spector in support. And now Eagles. Ronaldo.
Big expectancy every time Ronaldo gets the ball. Such a great summer with Portugal. Big season for him, I think, this season, Clive. He can be a real key figure here for United. If they are to resist Arsenal in the Premiership, I think he's got to have a really strong season for them this year.
Chance for Margaretescu to get Bucharest moving forward, but it comes off Petro for a Manchester United throw-in. Cleverson. Neville. Picture. Jemba, who's played and started indeed every Manchester United game so far this season. Fletcher's missed a couple of Premiership games through suspension. A false start to his year. Here is Eric Jemba, Darren Fletcher, John O'Shea. Space for Cristiano Ronaldo. Try to thread it through to Cleverson, but he'll get a chance to run at Dinamo himself. Smith has held it up well. Sport from Cleverson. And now Spector. Encouraging O'Shea to get forward. Neville. Lost a lot of Eagles. The darky slipped and Eagles picked his pocket, and it needed a clearance from Semeguin. Down by Dancilescu to Gregori.
Every time Cristiano Ronaldo has got the ball in this opening 10 minutes, they've double-teamed him. Petre and Iramir on that right-hand side, recognising the threat immediately. And they've got a good shape about them, Bucharest. At the back in particular, look very organised. Two sitting midfielders in front of them, so they will be hard to break down. United have to keep moving it around very quickly.
Gary Neville picked up a silly late booking in Bucharest for dissent. Watch your step early in the campaign. Niculescu has done well there to win a corner kick for Dinamo București. Had maybe their best second half chance in the first game, a headed opening. Manchester United did steady themselves after a very rocky start. Gary Neville's header away as far as Semeguin. This is Petra. Nicolescu unable to turn. Sylvester sorted that. Fletcher, Claverson. Good use of the ball. Christopher Eagles, not quite such good control of the ball. Hails from Hemel Hempstead, Chris Eagles. Won't be 19 until November. Did appear in a couple of Carling Cup ties last season, and then the last 20 minutes of the Community Shield, when Spector made his senior bow for the club too. So Chicago.
Difficult job for Alan Smith tonight, playing up front pretty much on his own. With his back to goals an awful lot, looking to link people up from the midfield, needs runners.
Instant control from Ronaldo, instant challenge from Semeghine. Certainly shouldn't be rusty, Ronaldo. He's been playing football all summer one way or another.
He looks such a naturally fit player as well, Clive. I think he's one of those that, I don't think it's a problem to him, a 2 or 3 week layoff, whatever he's had. Doesn't look like the sort of player that's going to lose a lot of fitness.
Interesting that Alec Ferguson only chose Ronaldo in his starting 11 3 times in Europe last season. He was on the substitutes bench for both of the games against Porto. It's really in the last couple of months of the season that he emerged as a critical figure for Manchester United. Semeghine was caught there. Had a wonderful FA Cup final, of course, and then went on to win his place in a Portuguese team which probably should have won Euro 2004.
This is Smith here diving in on Semeghine, just catching him on the top of his foot.
Got away with a naughty challenge early in the first game, and he picked up a yellow card late in that match. So did Mikel Sylvestre. They do tot up. Iwadake. Margaretescu. Grigore. We'll try that one again, son. Here's Ronaldo, the king of the party trick. Like moths around the flame, 3 defenders. Now you see it, now you don't.
Terrific feet, brilliant stuff.
Eagles. Just didn't quite bring it under control. His first touch was heavy, and his second was even heavier on Margaretescu. And Chris Eagles has been yellow carded.
Ball's there to be won, but he has gone in very, very high over the top. And if you raise your foot, he'll learn that. You raise your foot in European football more often than not, draws the yellow card.
And 2 yellow cards in European football these days mean you stay on the field. Let's start counting these bookings tonight. Fletcher, Smith, Spector. Here is Eagles, Neville, Ronaldo. Semeghine wasn't buying that. Ronaldo won it back. Semeghine has got a chance to break. Only got Dancilescu beyond him. Put out by O'Shea.
Done very well there, John O'Shea, because Gary Neville had run beyond Cristiano Ronaldo and was 30 yards out of the game. Good defending.
Fletcher has switched flanks with Ronaldo for now. Spector to Djemba. Now Neville. Eagles has taken up a good position. Kind of position that Alec Ferguson wants to see him in. He has played most of his football out here on the right of midfield, but Manchester United manager believes that Chris Eagle could be a good link-up man with a front runner. This is Neville. Crossed in towards Cleverson, who couldn't quite take it in his stride. Good to see Cleverson back in action. Made just 2 appearances at Manchester United in the last 6 months for one reason or another, and got injured again in the summer playing for his country at Copa America.
Yeah, and he in particular has a licence, along with Eagles, to try and supplement the forward line. Alan Smith up there on his own. They've got to be making those sort of runs from the middle of the park beyond the Bucharest back 4. Unlucky Cleverson there, just didn't quite catch it.
Grigore. Dancilescu back to Grigore. This is Nicolescu. Fancies his chances. The coach of Dinamo Bucharest was an international defender, Ioan Andone, played for Dinamo in 2 European semi-finals 20 years ago. They went out to Liverpool in the semi-final of the European Cup. Also played at the World Cup against one Andy Townsend when Romania and Ireland met famously on the penalty spot. And David O'Leary scored the critical penalty. You took one that night, didn't you?
Number 3. Still haven't got over it yet, actually. I've only just calmed down.
And Donny didn't take one. Spector. Fletcher. Sylvestre. Eagles. Jemba. Fletcher. Manchester United trying to pick their way through the minefield of midfield. Smith offering some width. Kleberson. Now Neville. Fletcher just unable to lift the ball over the head of Nadim. Grigori. Driven towards Dancilescu, dealt with by Spector.
Nice solid start from Jonathan Spector. Important for him tonight. He just does the simple pass, plays it well, nice and early. Supports Ronaldo like he is now when he can, but does his job defensively.
Here is Spector. Sylvestre. Smith. Ronaldo. Kleberson. Smith. Not exactly short on confidence at the moment. Alan Smith, he's not only scored 2 goals for Manchester United, he has scored 2 memorable goals for Manchester United.
Absolute belters. Good link-up play there as well. And again, nothing wrong with that. Nobody minds seeing a centre-forward have a shot, even 30-odd yards out. Not the best hit, but no problem with that at all. It's the next one, he just might really clean it and really test the goalkeeper.
Already conducting his own goal of the season competition. Screened one in against Arsenal in the Community Shield, and then the second Manchester United goal against Norwich here on Saturday was a wonderful hit. Fletcher. Jemba. Kleberson. Spector. Ronaldo. Kleberson had lifted the ball forward in anticipation of Spector continuing his run, which he didn't, but Alan Smith pings Iramir in.
He didn't need to, Kleberson didn't need to be elaborate. Spector was waiting for it, just roll it to him. Just give it him. So Ronaldo getting double teamed every single time he gets the ball. So Spector may have a little bit of room. Vital that he gets it.
A little loose from Spector. Nicolescu. Grigori. Fed through towards Dancilescu. Manchester United wouldn't want to encourage the Dinamo front two. They both have prolific goal-scoring records in their own domestic league. They're used to scoring goals. Eagles. Neville. Clipped in towards Smith. It almost came for Ronaldo and then almost came for Smith. And Iwadake came between them.
Great ball from Gary Neville. Just teased it into that area, just in behind Iwadake. And Galamaz, and very nearly dropped nicely for Ronaldo.
92nd European game for Manchester United tonight for Gary Neville. Draws level with Ryan Giggs on that mark. He is a good crosser of the ball.
Marguerite Teshko, I think, who just got a little nick on it. Otherwise Ronaldo would have had that off his chest and had a clear shooting opportunity from 6 or 7 yards out.
Iwadake. Wasn't a good pass, well picked off though by Jemba. Get another opportunity, Kleberson. Good use of the ball to Ronaldo. Gets it back from Smith. It's good stuff from Ronaldo. Didn't quite provide the telling cross. certainly bought the space for it.
Yeah, great link-up play. He's just got to stand that one up once he gets to the byline.
That's loose from Gary Neville. Grigori chasing.
Yeah, he's just enough on that from Gary Neville. I think he had that well under control. But Ronaldo, yeah, just when he gets to the byline, just needs to stand that up a little bit, because he's linked up with Alan Smith and he just buys a little bit of time for midfield players trying to get into the box.
These advertising hoardings have an hallucinatory effect, don't they? Don't start watching them, folks. Something strange will happen to you. Grigori. Semegin. Uwadaki. Changed the shape of their team, Dinamo, from the first game. They played with 3 central defenders in that match. It's a back 4 tonight. Nicolescu helped on to Grigori. Past a lot of Petre. Offside, Alan Smith.
It's concentration for the United lads tonight. I know they're 2-1 in front. It's difficult when you're at home. This crowd here want to see them going forward, committing players forward, but they don't always have to.
They do have an insurance policy. Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Phil Neville, Kieran Richardson, David Bellion, all on the substitutes bench, and Louis Sahar there too, who came back from Euro 2004 with an injury, but has trained for the last few days. Fouled by Jemba Jemba. Hurt himself more than his opponent. Run by Iremia. Silvestre cross with the cover.
It's good covering from Mikel Silvestre. He's done that 2 or 3 times already in the opening 10 or 15 minutes. Nice and alive and nice and alert.
Approaching the halfway point in this first half, and goalless on the night. Manchester United leading by 2-1 on aggregate. O'Shea. Ronaldo. Beating of his fullback now, just a little too long for Fletcher, who got caught under the ball.
Good change of play though from John O'Shea. That gives Ronaldo the time to run at the fullback. Unlucky, just overhit the cross.
Good challenge by Silvestre. Manchester United anxious to feed Ronaldo now that he seems to have the beating of Iremia out there. Margaretescu. That's loose from Nicolescu, seized upon by Smith. Semegin. Flag is up against Dancilescu, who's scored all of Dinamo Bucharest goals this season except for one, and that was scored by Quinton Fortune in the first game. Dancilescu should have scored that. He made a bit of a hash of the chance, and Quinton Fortune was caught on the wrong foot and turned it past his own keeper.
He's going to need better service than that, Alan Smith. That's a difficult ball for him to deal with. Doesn't have a partner up there alongside him. Only got people from midfield trying to support him. Service into him's got to be good, got to be accurate, give him any sort of chance.
I suppose Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes sitting on the bench are maybe the ideal men to play the supporting role to a lone striker like Smith.
Yeah, certainly, because Paul Scholes, nobody does that better than him. Timing a run from the middle of the park to link up with the striker.
Manchester United have 2 games in 3 days at the coming weekend in the Premiership. Face Blackburn on Saturday and Everton on Monday. So Alec Ferguson will have one eye on those fixtures, particularly having lost Roy Keane. If you're wondering why he's absent tonight, he's cracked a couple of ribs and will be out of action for 3 weeks. Apparently he's been playing with the injury for the last couple of games, and after a scan today there was a concern that if he continued to play he ran the risk of maybe puncturing a lung. Rio Ferdinand is suspended. Wes Brown and Ruud van Nistelrooy recovering from injury. Ferdinand only another month away from a return now. Fletcher. Smith's header. This is Ronaldo. Flicked into the path of Eagles, couldn't quite gather it in his stride. Jemba though to Fletcher. Crosses too deep. We will actually go for a throw-in. We have more live European football on ITV this Friday night when the European Super Cup is played in Monaco. You can see Porto versus Valencia on Friday. The draw, incidentally, for the group stage of the Champions League is in Monaco on Thursday. The Championship is covered on ITV this weekend with our usual highlights programme on Sunday morning. We'll catch up with all our football and indeed the draw tomorrow, and log on to itv.com/football. Eagles. Neville. Smith and Ronaldo went for the same ball and neither made contact.
Key is not to get frustrated in games like this. Just keep the ball moving about. So Alex there will be anxious to see his team. Of course he will. He want them to get that goal, which will give him a little bit of breathing space, but just keep popping the ball around, keep it moving, don't try and force it. The minute you start trying to force it into Alan Smith from all sorts of angles, that's the minute it starts breaking down. And I don't think they're going to come out and play too much, Bucharest. Certainly not for the first hour. They'll be very happy to keep it tight and let United live on their nerves a little bit maybe in the last 20 minutes.
Grigori. Dancilescu. Grigori had continued his run and just for a moment it looked like he might be able to nick the ball away from Silvestre.
It was a good run, but I think just got a toe on it, Mikel Silvestre. Divert it back to the goalkeeper.
Manchester United moving through the gears. They've changed gear a couple of times when Ronaldo has been in possession, but so far unable to make a gilt-edged chance. Fletcher. Neville trying to do something about that. Miscues. Nicolescu, seen off by O'Shea. Defended very competently so far.
Certainly have. John O'Shea and Mikel Silvestre in particular, very solid at the back. Not giving any encouragement at all.
Free kick to Manchester United. Kleberson. That's a lovely pass towards Gary Neville. Semagin just managed to catch up with it, but real imagination about Kleberson's use of the ball there.
Good tackle from Semagin, great run from Gary Neville. He's done that 3 or 4 times. Very nearly whipped across him just now and almost got on the end of that ball from Kleberson. Better.
Neville's throw. Alan Smith. Eric Jemba. Stolen by Chris Eagles. Oh, Ronaldo didn't gamble on it in the far post. He was a little asleep there. And it's diverted behind for a corner. Eagles wasn't asleep.
It certainly wasn't. He did very well because it was a poor ball in from Jemba. But Eagles just anticipates that, whips it across the 6-yard box, and you're right, Ronaldo should be flying in there. Had a chance to stand it up again, it gets deflected behind.
Chance is not passed though for Manchester United. They have a corner kick. Safely gathered though by Cristian Munteanu. Energetic cover from Eric Jemba.
Seen United getting 2 or 3 good situations in down the flank areas. Just need to take a little bit of care with the final ball in.
Petra. He's got support from Margaritescu. Strong-armed off the ball though by Mikel Silvestre. Kleberson. A little too ambitious. Smith was offside anyway. Just start to wonder when you look at the Manchester United setup exactly where a goal is going to come from. Ali McCoist would certainly have a view on that.
Yes, Clive, I was just thinking, looking at the action, I think it's blatantly obvious that United aren't playing with an out-and-out goal scorer in the Van Nistelrooy mould, if you like, especially when young Chris Eagles got into the byline and knocked a very inviting cross right across the face of the goal.
You get warmed up, Ali.
They're not that desperate, Clive. Hold on a minute.
That's part of half an hour gone. Manchester United's situation is a good one thanks to their first leg performance. It's been a pretty quiet night at Old Trafford so far. Naidi. Niculescu. Margaritescu. Petra. Silvestre in control again. Kleberson. Growing in confidence, he had a quiet start to the night, Kleberson. Ronaldo. Eagles. Jemba. Seen a lot of the ball. Touches offside.
Unlucky. Right idea again. Kept patient. Kept interchanging a movement. Good little passing. Unfortunately, Fletcher's just straying a little bit too far there offside. They're nice and compact. They're very resilient. I've been impressed with them in this opening 20-25 minutes. Even though they are behind in the tie, as I said, I don't think they'll be looking to do anything too elaborate too soon.
Ex-defender in charge, you see. Good leap by Neville. Turned down by Margaritescu. Turned on by Dancilescu. Eagles for Fletcher. Spectre to Ronaldo. Skipping away from the first two challenges again. Margaritescu caught up with him. Neville miscontrols. Grigori. Dancilescu. Semegi. Petra. Spectre came all the way with him off the flank and made a good challenge. Silvestre's found Smith. Maybe when they get the chance just to suck 4 or 5 white shirts forward, that Manchester United will have the opportunity to break quickly, but Dinamo Bucharest have regrouped again now. Bit of space for Kleberson. Ronaldo. Smith wide out on that left-hand side. We've seen him out there a couple of times. I think the Manchester United need him above everybody in the box.
What's happening when Kleberson in particular is getting the ball, Clive, he's still got 4 white shirts in front of him, plus a back 4 as well. That little Paul Scholes position we were talking about earlier, in behind the midfield players, that's where someone's got to try and find a little bit of space to slide Smith in or slide a runner in. At the moment, everything's just in front of the Bucharest side, and they're coping with it.
They need to do more than cope with it before the night is out. They still trail by 2-1. Yordake. Because of the away goals rule, they'll have to score a couple of goals before the night's out if they're to embarrass Manchester United. Deportivo La Coruña and Inter Milan and Monaco and Anderlecht and Liverpool all put their names in the hat for the draw tomorrow in last night's qualifiers. Bayer Leverkusen are well placed tonight to join them. We hope that Rangers may be able to. Real Madrid certainly should. Juventus are the team in trouble, having been held 2-2 in Turin by Djurgårdens of Stockholm. The big names are gathering in Monaco, ready to see who gets who, and Manchester United would fully expect to be one of those names. Gary Neville. Good lead by Naidi. Well seen by Margaretescu. Dancilescu. Grigori.
A lot of bodies right in the middle of the park at the moment. There's a lot of players in there. Neither team will have a lot of joy if they're going to try and thread things through a minefield, as you say, of players in there.
I understand Juventus have actually taken the lead in Stockholm tonight, so they now lead by 3-2 in aggregate, and that one Ronaldo has scored for Real Madrid against Wisła Krakow at the Bernabeu, so they now lead by 3-0 on aggregate. Stiff tumble. Last 10 minutes of the first half.
And a good opportunity to whip something in with a bit of pace on it, in that little gully, in behind this wall of white shirts, as you can see, around the penalty spot area. That's what you're aiming for here, with some pace, and get people flying across the front of that ball. Very difficult for the goalkeeper to see it.
Both John O'Shea and Mikel Silvestre are on the edge of the Dinamo Bucharest penalty area. Ronaldo to deliver. Valenciano got everything behind it.
He handled it very well, because that was an awkward ball, bounced just in front of him. He needs to be aiming more for the far post there, Ronaldo. Right at the keeper, and he's always going to deal with it.
Spectre defending well again. And again. Ronaldo between the legs of Naidi. Strong enough too to hold off the defender. Offside, Spectre just straight beyond the last line.
He made a great run as well, because he's followed Ronaldo all the way up the touchline. He knows himself he should never be offside there. He can see right along the line. Just wanders there, look, a yard offside. And that was a very good opportunity, because they had a man over in the box there.
Ronaldo actually just delayed the pass slightly, didn't he? And he had to check.
I think maybe Jonathan Spector in his defence would probably have thought Ronaldo might have just tried to attack the defender there on his own.
It's okay looking into those eyes from the comfort of your living room. You stand face to face with him and ask him a difficult question in an interview, I tell you. Scary. Cleverson winning a free kick. No flag against Fletcher. Timed his run well. Didn't quite reach him.
Nothing wrong with that. Every now and again someone running beyond Alan Smith. Maybe give him an opportunity to just wander into the hole just in front of the back four and collect the ball.
Spectre trying a Ronaldo. You tie your legs in knots if you try too many of those. Smith. Spectre. In towards Fletcher. And away as far as Eagles. He felt that it maybe just clipped against Margaretescu as it flew off his right boot.
Yeah, or maybe even saying to the referee there, I got a little nudge as I was about to hit it. Took it well on his thigh, just under pressure a little bit, and just snapped at it.
He's the man with the responsibility to get to Alan Smith first. He is the second forward, if you like, Chris Eagles. Jemba didn't stand on ceremony. Cleverson into the path of Neville. Across comes Semagin. Kleberson. In towards Smith! Sensational header. Dramatic action. Swerving cross from Kleberson. And Alan Smith just threw himself at it. And it actually got a touch from the keeper.
Fabulous cross, Clive, that is. Pace and everything on it, perfect at saying go on, go and attack it. Alan Smith does exactly that and is very unlucky.
Well, the corner, I thought it had just thundered against the crossbar, but certainly the referee felt that Christian Muntiano had got a touch, in which case it was a critical touch. He's got a wonderful headed goal down at that end for Leeds United in his final season with them, Alan Smith. Kleberson. Smith couldn't reach it that time.
The beauty of an early cross, and a cross whipped in with pace on it. It doesn't matter how many white shirts are in there. If it's delivered right and at the right trajectory, you can't defend it.
Offside. Well, amongst those Champions League goals for Leeds United, Alan Smith numbers Real Madrid, Lazio and Deportivo La Coruña as his victims.
Didn't get a touch on that, the goalkeeper.
Smacked against the crossbar. And that's all denied Alan Smith. Another spectacular goal for Manchester United. He does have that Champions League experience when Leeds went to the semi-final. They faced Milan and Barcelona too, en route to facing Valencia in the semi, where Alan Smith got a red card. And a couple of UEFA Cup campaigns since then too. Gary Neville wasn't going to give that up, but now Manchester United got a cover for his absence as Nicolescu goes forward. So that's just about helping it on its way. This is Petra. Ronaldo seeing out his defensive responsibilities. Still does step overs inside his own half of the field. Gregori. Worth a pop.
It just reminds you every now and again, this side, that they can play. They do. They just sit there and they've been happy to let United come at them and come at them. Just have to be very careful because technically they are good. In tight areas they can zip it about. As I said earlier, it's a fast surface here tonight at Old Trafford.
Fletcher. Got to the dead ball line. Managed to stand the ball up. Ronaldo will pursue it towards the corner flag. How did he do that? This is Smith. Hit by Kleberson. Good challenge coming in from Yordake. Spectre. The other fullback Gary Neville's inside the box. Fletcher keeping the move alive. Alan Smith's there. To be headed behind though by Iramia. Good stuff from Manchester United.
Yeah, good spell of pressure. All started from Ronaldo. Great little bit of skill on the far side.
Little bit.
Where did this one come from? Watch. See ya. Great skill. And kept it in.
Goalkeeper punching the corner and punching well. Gemma's lost it. This is Petra. Only one defender, Spectre. Cover is arriving. Petra still on the ball. And eventually run off it by Jemba.
And all credit to Jonathan Spector there. He just didn't dive in. He just stood his ground. Bought the rest of his team a bit of time. Jemba recognising that, come back and nipped it off of Petra.
Fletcher driven in towards Ronaldo. Samagin back to his goalkeeper.
That's actually what happened in the first leg when they went behind. Similar scenario. United on the attack. And the only time they were dangerous was on the counter.
Not all of you will have watched Liverpool's qualifying game with us last night. It's funny, a lot of Liverpool fans don't watch Manchester United and vice versa, but they certainly had a good spell of 20-25 minutes at the start of that match, seemed to be in control, and then the night went nervous. And Manchester United are only 2-1 up here. They're playing better now than Liverpool were at the same stage of the game. Eagles. Fletcher. Made space for a shot, try a little trick. Didn't quite come off for Cleverson.
Unlucky. I think Chris Eagles could have kept going there. He just got himself into that area that I was talking about earlier, which is exactly where he wants to be, with a bit of grass to run into in the middle of the park. Chose to give it to Fletcher, nothing wrong with that, but maybe be a bit braver there, step forward another 2 yards himself and have a pop.
Ronaldo. After all that, Gary Neville had made a long run forward too. Was never going to get a pass. Gary Neville had the pleasure of marking Ronaldo during Euro 2004. Although he seemed to spend more time on Ashley Cole's side in the end. I think he knew what he was going to get if he saw too much of Gary Neville.
I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Looks like just a good committed challenge from Fletcher. Again, maybe just because his foot up gets penalised.
Manchester United have certainly had the better of the half. Dinamo Bucharest have had few opportunities. One wonderful header from Alan Smith to remember the half by, but despite all the trickery of Cristiano Ronaldo, no goals as yet, and so Manchester United's 2-1 lead from the first leg is still in place. Ali McCoist and Robbie Earle will be joining Gabby Logan in just a moment. Dinamo Bucharest suffered a significant defeat at the weekend, losing their big domestic derby fixture to a late goal for Stour. They've taken just 3 points from their opening 4 games. They're already 7 points adrift of the leaders. Not a very auspicious start to their championship defence. Manchester United looking to regain the championship with some rather haunting words from their skipper Roy Keane echoing in their ears. He said in an interview at the weekend that if they didn't win it this year, they may go a long spell. 14 or 15 years like Liverpool were his words. Change in midfield. Pakura is a 22-year-old who was only signed in the summer. He's only made a couple of substitute appearances for the club so far. Manager back on his station. We're joined by Carlos Queiroz for this season. Little did we know when Costinha scored that late goal that sent Jose Mourinho racing down the touchline that we were looking at the next European champions that night at Old Trafford in early March. Manchester United looking to join in the fun all over again. Remember Chelsea went all the way to the semi-finals from the qualifying round last season. And once Manchester United can remove Dinamo Bucharest from their path, they will set their sights on the very summit once again. Job's not done yet. Smith, he's come as close as anybody so far, and as well a free kick here.
That's what he's good at, getting it into his body, holding it up, resisting defenders. Maybe a little bit fortunate to get that one, Alan Smith.
Brought John O'Shea and Michael Sylvestre forward from the back. Cleverson's free kick. Oh, it's gone away to Smith! Offside! Well, he can't be, can he? Can't be. The German assistant has raised his flag on the far side. It came off a Dinamo Bucharest player. Alan Smith turned it in. Goal given. Smile returns to Alan Smith's face. About time he got a tap in for Manchester United. He was set up by an opponent. A goal of some fortune, but of some significance too.
Great ball in, Clive, and it's a difficult one for the linesman on the far side to see. All he sees is the ball pop back out of a ruck of bodies, drops to Alan Smith, who would normally obviously be offside, but you can quite clearly see there, that comes off Jordarke's boot. Correct decision.
Alan Smith's third goal for Manchester United. United comes within 2 minutes of the restart and doubles Manchester United's aggregate lead in the process. 1-0 on the night, 3-1 in total.
And that's a dream start to the second half. It's exactly what Sir Alex would have wanted. Just everyone breathes a little bit easier now. The players can play with just a little bit more confidence, especially the younger guys. Enjoy the night a little bit. Keep the back four nice and concentrated. The likes of Eagles, the likes of Cleverson, guys that need first team football. Now they can enjoy the night a wee bit more.
Played 35 times in Europe for Leeds United. Alan Smith has scored 14 goals. He hit the post in Bucharest a fortnight ago, and now he's got his first in the Champions League for Manchester United. Jonathan Spector, Cristiano Ronaldo. Just bumped by Tecera, who feels as if it was shoulder to shoulder, but he knocked Ronaldo off balance, and a free kick's been given.
He was clever there, Ronaldo, because as soon as he realised maybe he was just running into trouble, just decides to hit the floor there. Definite foul.
Ronaldo takes. And they were running across the sight of the goalkeeper.
That's the ball in. Great delivery that is. A ball of that quality deserves someone getting on the end of that. Alan Smith just looking at Ronaldo there, he knows it.
Bad news for Glasgow Rangers, who were already trailing by 2-1 to CSKA Moscow from the first leg, and are now 1 down at Ibrox tonight, so they've got a lot of ground to make up. Rangers 0, CSKA Moscow 1 on the night, 3-1 to the Russian champions. Eagles. Neville, Fletcher's there, Smith's there! Alan Smith has scored twice for Manchester United in the opening 5 minutes of the second half, and Smith and company will be playing Champions League football this season.
Great goal from Alan Smith, terrific run from Gary Neville, and they had lots of bodies running in the box with drags defenders everywhere. Alan Smith left with a simple finish.
What an impact he's made.
Great run from Gary Neville on the overlap. I think it's Eagles that finds him, and they all bursting in the box. Look, they got lots of options. Good finish from Alan Smith. Lovely slide rule ball from Gary Neville. Goalkeeper, no chance with that.
That's Smith, Van Nistelrooy, Saha, Rooney forward line will be quite interesting, won't it?
That's the difference. You get bodies in the box from the midfield, causes the defenders all sorts of problems. That's where your striker capitalises on it.
Manchester United 2, Dinamo Bucharest 0. And up at the top of the screen there, 4-1 now the Manchester United aggregate lead. And no way back for Jon Andoni and the Dinamo team. Almost, I thought a smirk, which becomes almost a shrug of the mouth.
Can we go now?
It's almost as if his assistant suggested a substitution. He said, what's the point?
Hey, as a substitute, you'll start looking the other way now. Don't want to go on.
Right into Semigi, Baccarat, Margaretescu. Baccarat's pass. Tecera has always been full of running, had made a good one beyond Spectre. Now he has to come back and doesn't get back quickly enough.
Has Alan Smith had many hat-tricks, Clive, in his career?
Do you want me to sort of guess, or do you want me to go away? I'll leave you two for 5 minutes. I'll go and get my books. There he is. Might just come for Smith here. Sharp challenge by Galamaz. Antiano can afford only one touch, with Smith bearing down on him and that hat-trick. Fouled by Niculescu. Fletcher. Out without the ball.
Ronaldo there, very nearly nipping that Iramir's toes. Would have been in as well.
This is Manchester United's 28th season in Europe, and more than half of those have been in the main competition, in its two great guises as European Cup and Champions League. And it's difficult now to imagine them in any other setting. All set to take part in the big league for the 9th consecutive season, which would be a record for the competition. See Phil Neville there in the foreground, preparing to come on. Here's Big Bruv. Jemba. Baccarat. Niculescu. Semegi. Dancilescu. Petra. Spectre stuck with him again. Looks a very capable defender. He's a strongly built 18-year-old. Ronaldo. Smith. Cleverson. Smith so eager, he sets an example to all around him. Such an appetite for the game. And he's forced a yellow card from Galamaz. Those two centre-backs, Galamaz and Yordake, have seen quite enough of Alan Smith. Neville, for Neville, there's the substitution. Gary Neville giving way to Phil Neville. He's only played 20 minutes of Premiership football this season. He's had the last 10 minutes in Bucharest. A regular much of last season. Taken over the captaincy. Ronaldo's free kick. Rather nervous touch by Montiano. Not sure I'd want to get my head on the end of one of these Ronaldo free kicks.
Another great ball in, pace on it, exactly what is required. Goalkeeper should catch that, doesn't need to punch that at all. But it is a good delivery, a fast delivery.
As long as you've got a couple of paracetamol. There is Phil Neville, left out of the England squad last week, which will have been a blow to him. Eagles. A little bit too much there. And Fletcher almost forced into a foul.
Dancilescu, who's been their most potent player, as you said, so far this season, Clive, dropping right into the midfield now. Another great delivery that is from there. Look at the pace on it. Catch that. Goalkeeper should just catch that.
Manchester United in consummate control, thanks to 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes of this second half from Alan Smith. They can be all but certain of taking their place in tomorrow's draw in Monaco for the first stage of the Champions League, and they will be seeded because of their excellent record in the competition. Cleverson. Caught in possession though by Tecera. Black punch tonight. Dinamo București, they've had some moments up until maybe 20 yards from Manchester United's goal.
Did well there, Tecera. Won the tackle with Cleverson.
Neville. Sylvestre.
Done well tonight, Spectre. Well, I've been impressed with him.
Phil Neville. Fletcher. Corner kick.
Good run, good confident run. Attacking the last defender. Ball's in the corner.
Rocher and Sylvestre forward again. Towards Ronaldo, who headed 1, maybe 2 goals at Euro 2004. Trying to run it out of trouble. With more than half an hour to go as a contest, you feel the tie is over. Aydin to Semegui.
I think Sir Alex once or twice has been critical of his team being careless. I think this is what it's all about now, this performance for them. They've got themselves in the driving seat. They're home and dry in the tie. Just be nice and focused and concentrated at the back and don't give anything silly away.
With the pressure off, maybe they can really open up and add to their tally and send a message to the rest of Europe. You'll be aware of the lineup in the draw tomorrow. Porto, the holders, of course, from Spain. Valencia, Barcelona, Deportivo La Coruña have already qualified. Real Madrid looks certain to. From Italy, Milan, Roma and Inter Milan have already qualified. Juventus are hoping to tonight. From Germany, Werder Bremen, Bayern Munich and almost certainly Bayer Leverkusen. From France, Lyon, Paris Saint-Germain and Monaco. Throw in Ajax and Celtic, and 1 or 2 besides. It'll take some winning. Djemba to Fletcher. Smith. No flag. Phil Neville had run on, now he's offside.
Unlucky, it was a good run from Phil Neville. He actually wanted the ball from Djemba that was clipped through. See, he wants that one. Yeah, just straight a yard offside. Unlucky though, good movement, better now, sharper to the ball. More incisive, looking to thread people and slide people into dangerous situations.
Last time Manchester United were in this qualifying round, they've knocked 5 past Zalaegerszeg of Hungary here in the home leg. Got a chance to give some real impetus to their season. And they can score 2 or 3 more in the closing half hour. Eagles just buffeted by Yordaki.
Trying to just take that on his chest there, Chris Eagles. Ploughed into him from behind from Yordake. Shooting opportunity from Ronaldo, maybe. Same sort of shape as he's delivered from the wide areas.
Cleverson has paced out a run. Hit to beat Cleverson. Wall stood firm. Strong play by Fletcher, too strong.
Unlucky Semigin, not really aware he was there. Darren Fletcher does well. Just gives him a little nudge.
Neville. Ronaldo. On to Cleverson. Clean challenge. Now here's Petra with a little bit of space. Okay.
Decent run from Petra, and he had Spector and Mikhail Silvestre closing him down. Better option there might have been to try and find Niculescu.
Manchester United are going to bring on another couple of fringe players. Ronaldo, who Alec Ferguson is keen to rest, is going to give way to David Bellion, who played on the right-hand side of midfield against Norwich on Saturday. And Alan Smith's not going to get a hat-trick tonight. He's going to be rested with the weekend in mind. Kieran Richardson will come on in his place, another teenager. Eagles seems to have gone right up the middle. Bellion will support him from the right, and Richardson from this left-hand side. Phil Neville. Paul Scholes is not on the field, it's Bellion and Richardson.
Yeah, Bellion's gone up alongside Eagles up front, more of a 4-4-2 sort of formation now. Richardson out on the left-hand side here. Fletcher still occupying the right side.
Bellion is quick. As Galamas will now testify, he caught him there. Dancilescu, out to Semigui. Naidi. Margaretescu. Yordake. Petra heard that opportunity before. He actually scored a very important goal for his country last week. Romania began their World Cup qualifying campaign with a win over Finland, and number 8 Petra got their late winning goal. Confirmation of the substitutions. They are in a group with Holland and the Czech Republic, it would have to be said. They only just missed out on Euro 2004 behind Denmark and Norway. They were foiled by a last-minute Martin Laursen penalty in Copenhagen in the last qualifying game. Romania are usually around at the major tournaments. Just a chance for a couple more of these Dinamo players to sample the atmosphere of Old Trafford. Cleverson looks for Richardson. Foul by Eagles. Obviously, having won the Youth Cup last season, Manchester United will feel there's another generation of promising youngsters coming through. Strange how in recent years they've been able to blood one or two of their younger players in the Champions League. It all began when there was a quota for the number of British-born players you had to play in this competition, and One or two of the Neville, Butts, Scholes generation got their first chances in this competition. Number 27, Yon Balin, is a right back. Coming on down this side instead of Petra, who got that goal for Romania last week. Balin did play in the first game. So going to play in midfield in front of Irimia. Here is the latest substitute, Margaretescu, stopped by Claverson. Foul by the Brazilian.
Done okay tonight, Cleverson. I still think there's plenty more to come from him. Another 90 minutes hopefully under his belt tonight. Won't do him any harm at all.
A little careless from Fletcher, but he gets away with it. Flag is up. More live European football on Friday night on ITV2. We'll see Porto and Valencia, the Champions League winners and the winners of the Cup Winners' Cup, in opposition for the European Super Cup. That's live from 7 o'clock on ITV2 on Friday night. And then on Sunday morning, our regular review of the Coca-Cola Championship, which is 10:30 on Sunday morning. That's here on ITV1. If you want to follow the draw for the first group stages of the Champions League, you can log on to our website, itv.com/football, tomorrow lunchtime. Well kept in by Richardson. This is Bellion. Irimia. Strong defending by Neville. Claverson. Spectre. Might just break for Bellion here. He's onside. Yordaki watching it anxiously. And Bellion has got clear. David Bellion, free. Just couldn't handle his speed. The defender got more and more nervous as the ball came towards him. Bellion got more and more hopeful. And having wriggled clear of Yordaki, David Bellion was able to add to the goal that he scored here against Norwich at the weekend. Same end.
Yeah, he just kept off on the defender's blind side. You can see him there, kept onside, and then he just used his strength. He just leans on Yordake there. Goalkeeper's now advanced out beyond the 6-yard box, and that's a good finish. Just look, powers him away from there. Slides it in the corner. That's a good finish from David Bellion.
He's still only 21 years of age. He's seen a little bit more football this season, having been a fringe player for much of his first season.
Well, that's his strength, Clive. Running onto things, he will be a threat for absolutely any defender.
Balin. Then towards Nicolescu. Tim Howe has been a spectator for much of the evening. Jemba. Substitutions of fresh and Manchester United up again. These players want to join in the fun. Bellion, though, caught in possession.
Yeah, that's the side of his game that needs improving. He's done brilliant there, by the way. Gave it away, got straight back up on his feet, get back to win it.
Turning for his error, Eagles. He's lost it under his feet, and now he's found it again, and now he's lost it again. Semagin to Nicolescu. Margaretescu. Nicolescu brought down by Neville. Had a year in Italian football with Genoa, Nicolescu, but returned to Dinamo a year ago. Both Fiordoke and Galamas, the two central defenders, are forward here. Free kick's wildly overhit though. Over 61,000 inside Old Trafford again tonight. Pay somebody's wages for a day. If you are joining us during the evening, in addition to the 3 goals that we have to talk about tonight, and Manchester United's 5-1 aggregate lead, news that Manchester United have made a bid to Everton for Wayne Rooney, believed to be in the region of £20 million tonight. And also news that Manchester United skipper Roy Keane has suffered 2 cracked ribs and will be out for 3 weeks. David Moyes, the Everton manager, was here at the start of the night. He'll maybe ask for Ronaldo and Smith in part exchange, will he? It is a free kick. Eagles tumbling. No Ronaldo to take the free kick. He's gone off. Jemba. Neville. Fletcher. Phil Neville has gone on. Darren Fletcher. Tagged though by Semagin. Won't show too much of it to belly on.
He's powerful, he really is. He'll get about you. He is a powerful player. Just think the ball's into his feet with his back to play. That's the area of his game he's going to need to improve on if he wants to hold down any sort of a regular place here.
It's almost one of the unwritten laws of football, isn't it? The quickest players aren't always the players with the best first touch. Dancilescu on towards Bala. Spector, again, calm defending in a difficult situation by Jonathan Spector.
Been very impressed with him.
Terrific from Richardson, lovely skill. Stopped by Galamas. Cloderson keeping the move going. Picking out Fletcher beautifully. It's got Eagles, Bellion and Richardson with him. Fletcher's cross. Bellion! Should really have done better. He actually had time to take a touch, but he's just stretching for it a little bit.
Wonderful sweeping move. Great ball from Cleverson. Finding Darren Fletcher in space. He could have whipped it across the 6-yard box, but sees David Bellion pulling out. Just couldn't keep it down. Good football.
Alan Smith scored 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes of this second half to set Manchester United on their way tonight. David Bellion has now added to the lead on the evening, and on aggregate Manchester United's advantage is 5-1. "15 minutes to play. Bala. Rimia. Agreteshku. A little bit of space for Semagin. Manchester United, even without so many familiar faces, have been a class apart from their opponents tonight.
Yeah, frustrated a little bit for half an hour or so. Scored at a great time. Start the second half. Since then, totally bossed the game. Playing with a lot more freedom, a lot more confidence now. Job very well done.
You would ask yourself the question, how many of the players on the field now will be Manchester United's first choice 11? That's Nicolescu with a shot. Tim Howard making the save probably would be.
Mikel Silvestre.
Probably into John O'Shea, maybe.
Yep. 2 or 3.
Really can't play centre-back, can he? No. Spector. Eagles couldn't reach it, turned away by Galamas. Richardson. Jemba. Fletcher. Phil Neville overlapping. Neville's cross in towards Eagles, might still come for the teenager. Turn back to Bellion, sets up Fletcher. Still hasn't scored for Manchester United, Darren Fletcher. Strong challenge by Sylvestre, waved on. There's a chance there for somebody to fill their boots in these remaining 15 minutes or so.
It's unlucky there, Darren Fletcher, did everything right, kept it down.
Here from my box that Rangers have scored a late equaliser on the night. It's now 3-2 on aggregate against them to CSKA Moscow. Need another goal, Glasgow Rangers, but back in business there. It's a late goal. There's only a couple of minutes left in that match. Balan. Ancelescu. Rodake. Galamaz. Irimir. Dinamo Bucharest being allowed almost to play in front of Manchester United.
Wall of red shirts across the middle, with that back four been very solid all night long.
It's better though, Margaretescu trying to walk his way through, so Vector's there.
It's been excellent, Mikhail Silvestre. Very concentrated. He has been prone to the odd error in the past in the centre of defence. None of that, no sign of that tonight.
Balan. Ancelescu. So that's the senior man out there now. Is the oldest Manchester United player on the field, 27. The average age of the side was just under 23 at kickoff. It just have gone down since then. Gary Neville going off. Cleverson growing in confidence, has enjoyed himself tonight. Spector certainly has. This is Richardson. Jemba. Fletcher. Up on towards Neville. Gathered it in. And on a free kick.
Did very well there, Phil Neville.
One more change for Dinamo Bucharest, and Claudiu Niculescu, the striker, is coming off to be replaced by Denis Serban, who rather curiously has his Christian name rather than his surname plastered across his back. Dennis the Menace, famous name in this stadium. Cleverson with the free kick. Header away by Yordaki. Ancelescu. Gone out of play. Spector. Cut out by Semegin. Forced forward by Yordaki. Phil Neville. Just dropped for Bellion. It is a throw into Manchester United.
Understandably, Clive, the tempo of the game has dropped. Only 10 minutes left to play. Job very well done, very professionally done tonight. Seen some young players gaining vital European experience. Two of the older heads, Smith, Sylvestre, played very solidly. So Alex couldn't have asked for a lot more at the beginning of the evening.
Two eyebrows raised at the beginning of the evening by the calibre and experience of the players, the number of players that he left out. I mean, he's been in this situation before in Premiership games where maybe they haven't had the result that they would have wished and rested a couple of players, and obviously fingers are pointed at the manager in those circumstances.
Well, we saw last night Liverpool found it very, very sweaty that last 15 minutes there at Anfield in getting through eventually. So you always run the risk when you're putting young guys in a situation like this. A big European night against a team that you know, given the time and given an opportunity, can hurt you. So yeah, you do leave yourself there to be shot at a wee bit, but they come up trumps for him tonight. The team have played very well.
Balan. Serban. Jeremia. Too long for Dancilescu. Eagles full of running. There's no shortage of energy in this young Manchester United team. Here's Bellion. All the space here for Richardson on the near side. Bellion couldn't quite pick the pass that he needed.
Any sort of ball in front of Kieran Richardson there, and he's in with just 30 yards of grass between him and the goalkeeper.
Throw in. Fletcher. Neville. Eagles. I suppose it's a little unfair to ask you to assess Manchester United's chances in the competition or for the season, Andy, until we know the events of the next few days and how the Rooney bid goes down.
When their key players are back, they're as formidable as anything else in the competition. With the experience they have, as you say, possibly having Wayne Rooney in the camp as well, they'll be a threat to absolutely any other team in this competition.
I'm afraid Glasgow Rangers will not be. They are out of the Champions League. No details on that. With Gabby and Co at the end. The Rangers have not made it. Pellion's leg speed again to the fore. Eagles. Gemma to Fletcher. Bellion. And towards Kieran Richardson. Tell off Galamas. Good run. There's not a great deal of Kieran Richardson. He will be 20 until October. He was very quiet last season, but he's been more involved with the first team at the start of this season.
Yeah, obviously got opportunities due to those injuries, and it's a big season for him. He's got to try and make the most of them when he does get an opportunity. Hasn't seen quite enough of the ball since he's come on.
Davison with the corner. Easy for Montiano. Roy Keane is likely to be out for about 3 weeks. Just been presented to Clavison. Oh, goalkeeper was off his line. I think he was aware of that. He was trying to lift it over him.
Crazy defending, but Cleverson very alive and very alert. Getting the right mix up there, the two defenders, and Cleverson does well to just shrug the defender off. He just sees Montiano miles off his line. Just can't apply the finish.
So Keane out for another 3 weeks, Ferdinand out for another 4 weeks. Ruud van Nistelrooy had a hernia operation about a week ago, so I guess we won't see him in harness for about a month. Wes Brown is still on the injured list. Gabriel Heinze playing in the Olympic final this coming weekend.
Incredible list of injured players and absentees. Vital they stay involved in this competition, obviously. I've just got to try and hang in there in the Premiership, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks.
Sylvester's found Richardson. Side netting, goal kick. Always traditionally, Manchester United feel the second half of the season is their stronger half. They really started to motor around about Christmas and into the new year. last season. I think a lot of people felt that their championship charge was being perfectly timed again, but then it all fizzled out in late January, early February, around the time that Ferdinand was suspended. Unusual, really. Almost like a Olympic middle distance runner timing his run and coming to the bend, and then just finding he didn't have the kick that he usually has. If you were to pick one of the 4 English representatives in the draw tomorrow to be our favourite for a European champion, who would it be, Andy?
Well, I think the way that Arsenal have started the season, I mean, you can't look beyond them. They are playing on a different level to pretty much everyone at the minute. I think Chelsea have ground out some very interesting victories so far this season. But I just think the way that Arsenal play, I think we all want to see them get to the latter stages of the Champions League, because they play the game in they've got such a special brand of football at the moment. It's so pleasing on the eye. And they've got the ability to do it.
Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester United will be kept apart in that draw tomorrow. But Celtic, who are through, may finish up in a group with an English club, as Rangers did last year with Manchester United. Dancilescu, taken out by Fletcher. Spectre to Jemba. O'Shea. Richardson. Free kick has gone against Kieran Richardson, presumably for handball. Manchester United, with those 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes of this second half, and the now departed Alan Smith, have had consummate control of this tie throughout the second half. David Bellion's goal just garnished the success. And they haven't looked like conceding tonight.
I think Tim Howe's probably only had 1 save to make, like. Such has been their dominance.
Free kick given 4 foot up. One last threat to Tim Howard's clean sheet. Balan will take it. Seen off at the far post by John O'Shea. It's been a stress-free night for Sir Alec Ferguson. Fielded one of the youngest teams that Manchester United have ever fielded in European competition. Alan Smith scored 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes of the second half to ease them clear of pretty modest opponents. They will be drawn against far better teams in Monaco tomorrow, where they will join Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea and the big names of European football: Barcelona, Real Madrid, Milan, maybe Juventus and company, Bayern Munich, in the draw for the first stages of the Champions League. It's not been a night of high drama or excitement at Old Trafford. I'm sure there are plenty of those ahead in the months ahead. But Manchester United have done what was required of them and have joined the last 32 for tomorrow's draw with a 3-0 win over Dinamo Bucharest tonight. Gabby will be back with Robbie and Ali in just one moment.